was so much that the church committee called me. You don't have a dime and you impregnate your wife. As if pregnancy was a... I have been a Christian for a long time. But my life before the scripture was unveiled to me. Hebrews 5 verse 8. Though he was a son, but he hath learned obedience by the things he suffered. It is because God have seen your suffering. That's why he sent me. I have suffered. I have seen suffering. But by the grace of God, I have seen prosperity. I have seen suffering. Now, 3 weeks ago, God used I and my wife to feed 21,000 people. Now, the same man that I've suffered, behind every glory there's a story. On record, in less than 2 years, we have clothed 40,000 widows. God has used this man from Taraba State to be blessings to many people. Papa, we're just discussing with my wife. I'm sowing a seed to Papa today, 500,000. I heard the Lord say you have to do it as your father. There are pastors in my state. God has used me to put millions in their hands. Now, the instruction I'll follow, God has used this same man to put money in the hand of 7,000 tithers. Let me tell you my story. The levels of suffering in my life, I have to doubt myself whether I am a human being. It was so much what poverty did with me. I am a Christian, born again. But everything in my hand went off. I was with Papa when I came to Jos. I got a contract with NASCO. Auntie, I don't know where she's here. She was the model, Auntie Jennifer, for NASCO. And Jesse at that time. I don't know if Jesse's around. I thought I have entered the rest. But in a short while, wind came and blew those money away from my hands. I began to beg to eat. Life became terrible for me. There was a missing link in my life. It got to the point that I could not take care of myself, talk less of my wife. My wife was pregnant. We had nothing on ground. I went to my church. I attended Living Faith Church in Jos, the headquarters at British American. I was a liability to the church. Now listen, last year, next month, the church is organizing over 500 widows. They are members of Live for me to attend to by next month. I was there last year. When I got to the church, the elders, when they told them this is the guest speaker, they could not recognize me. The poverty was so much that the church committee called me. You don't have a dime and you impregnate your wife. As if pregnancy was a reproach. They say it was not wisdom because I was dependent on the church that I will bring someone to the world. Now listen, my wife was pregnant. She was due. There was nothing. We went to the hospital. The doctor said that it has to be CS. When they told me the amount then was 42,000, I fainted because there was no money. I told my wife to try to push. She couldn't push. We have no alternative. I have to sign and write undertaking before the operation was carried on. Listen, we were in the hospital for 21 days. Not that the operation was not successful. I couldn't get the money. Everyone I turned to, everywhere I go, I was carrying a smell, and that is the smell of poverty and rejection. Do you know how we left the hospital? The doctor, they were tired of us, and they look at us. We're just occupying the bed for nothing. That was how they asked us to go. We left it. I couldn't feel. Now, let me tell you something, how it happened. A friend of mine came to Jalingo that knows a pastor that is in Jalingo. The pastor name is Benjamin Idiaye. He was a pastor of International Praise Church. And he was my senior in school. So that friend that knows me saw me in Jos, asked me what am I doing. I was hiding. There's what we call finishing in printing. When somebody finishes the job, you go hang around. That's what I do. And sometimes the whole day I will have nothing. I saw him, came and I approached him to do finishing for him. And I saw a picture of Idiaye. I said, this pastor here is my senior in secondary school. When you get back to Jalingo, tell him you saw Jerry. He went back to Jalingo and told Idiaye. Idiaye asked me then to come and give me a particular date. And that date I will not forget for the rest of my life. He asked me to come on February 12th. February 12th or 13th, 2007. I started looking for transport money I didn't see. I went everywhere. I didn't see transport money. It took me 2 weeks to look for 5,000 I couldn't see. Eventually, I went back to my church, the Living Faith Church. And I told them, I'm about to travel. I'm tired of Jos. I said to the pastor, our pastor name is Robert Akande. He's now in South Africa. That was the Living Faith Pastor Church. Pastor then. And I told him, he said, please, can you assist me? Let the church help me. He said, I should go to the accounting section. I went there, explained my case to them. They told me we don't give people money to travel. I didn't know what to do. So I went back to the altar of the church. And I looked up to heaven and cried. I said, the God of prosperity, the God that did it for Bishop David Oyedepo, let my life be an expression and definition of kingdom prosperity. I cried on that altar. And instantly the Spirit of the Lord began to reveal to me the missing link. The unbreakable covenant code of honor. I got up and I remember a friend of mine that I did work for 2 years. And the balance of the job was 10,000. He has refused to pay me. So when I called him, I said, I'm coming. He said, okay. I met him. I explained to him why I needed that 10,000. I said, if you give me this 10,000, I will give my wife 5,000. I will use 5,000 to travel to Jalingo. Transportation is about 3,500 at that time. I pleaded with him, explained the whole of my secret to him. You know what he told me? He said he has no money with him. I persuaded, knelt down. And he told me, he said, what he would do for me, he would give me a check. When I had check, I said, God has answered my prayer. He brought out his checkbook. And instead of me to be looking at what is happening, I turned my back with excitement. He wrote the check and handed it over to me. Foolishness, I didn't check the check. I ran to the bank because he told me the bank is Intercontinental Trust Bank in Rampart Street in Jos. So I ran to the bank. By the time I got to the gate of the bank, when I was about to enter the bank, I opened the check. And I checked inside the check what I saw. Behold, 1,000 naira worse. Figure 1,000. I look up, I look down. I called him to inform me that maybe he made a mistake. He told me that's all he has. He said, if I come down, I won't meet him. That is on his journey somewhere. Child of God, what do? I entered the bank. I saw a large queue inside the bank. So what I had to do is to join the queue. The spirit of poverty followed me to the bank. There's nothing that embarrasses a man like poverty. So I was inside the bank to cash a check of 1,000. I observed something. The line was not moving. And all of a sudden, it was as if there was fluctuation. The system was on and off. So the bankers could not do anything. At the end of the day, we're asked to sit down. Those of us standing on the queue. I saw a seat and I ran to the seat and sat down in the seat. Please, can I have the seat? I sat down there. If I knew that those people around me, they were my helper, I would have allowed the man that was coming behind me to sit down while I stand. And I sat down in the bank. As I sat in the bank, the system came up. They asked us to come back. We wait. The system went off. I've already possessed that seat. I came back and sat down. As I sat down in the bank, something happened. One of the bankers, I believe he was the operation manager. He saw how the bank was rousing. So he now began to look at face. That's what they call customer. I know you, I know you. So we're all sitting down. The first person he saw, they asked the person, say, how much do you want to withdraw? That one said $1 million. I was the fifth man. So the other person, how much do you want to withdraw? He said 800,000. Look at intimidation. The other person, he said 400,000. Then the other person getting close to me before the 200, he said 2 million. And here was I. So he now said, okay, young man, how much do you want to withdraw? I look left, I look right. I just did like this. One. The man looked at me, what do you mean? He asked question I didn't answer. And he asked me, is it 1 million? I shook my head, I did like this. He said, is it 100,000? I did like this. Now the man became furious. He said, that is not 100, it's not, is it 1 billion? You know it's not possible. I did like this. Then from there he looked at me like a suspect. He said, can I see your check? I was still holding that check. I said like, he said, can I see the check? He took the check out of my hands and looked at the check and saw 1,000 words and figure, and he eased and gave it to me. I felt embarrassed. That was not enough. Something happened. Now, people don't understand why I preach the message of the covenant with so much passion. I was seated in the bank. Something happened. As we are all seated, the bankers were trying to fix the problem. In fact, it was a fuse that removed the fuse that controlled the AC of the bank. So that what caused the heat. Something happened in the bank. Somebody fat. You know what is fat? Mess. Now, when the person messed, everybody in the bank became a suspect. So you look at the next person, if it's not well dressed, maybe it's the person. But I observed something. I was the prime suspect. Now hear me, I was not the messer. God knows I was not the one. Because of the way I was dressed. Now, that was not still enough. After that mess, another mess again. It was so much horrible. So one man that was a customer too got angry, went to the bankers. I said, please, we have been here. Our money you didn't give to us. your AC you are battling with, your system, and look at the mess. No air freshener. The bankers were trying to suppress it with air for wear. So I saw the banker that he was asking. When they were talking, I saw the man was pointing at me. The same man that asked for my check, his own professional. He was pointing at me. So after the free discussion, I just saw that man pass and look at me and ease and went. Then the last mess was so horrible. Now that man now knows the suspect. So he came to me and looked at my face and said, do you think you're a child? How can you be polluting the air? If you want, he was insulting me. Now hear me. As he was aggressive to the point he almost wanted to slap me in the back, God raised a voice for me. There was a little boy that came to the bank that day with his mother and saw all this drama. And that boy knows the messer. So when the boy saw that man was about to give me heavy slap, he ran to him and tapped the man where he was harassing me. He said, Uncle, I am not the messer. I know the messer. Mommy is the messer. He said, when we are coming to the bank, mommy messed 2 times. Mommy is the messer. So the man turned back. He was wondering, said, what is this? Immediately when mommy heard that she was the messer, and indeed mommy was the messer, she ran and dragged this child. As he was dragging the child, the boy is around 5 to 6 years old, and he thought it was a phone. I was saying, mommy is the messer. Now listen, as they were moving out, the mess was following them. That was how I was vindicated. Poverty makes me to become a victim of a mess I didn't mess. That's how terrible poverty is. I was seated there, tears was coming out of my eyes. I said, what kind of embarrassment is this? If that man have slapped me, what will I say, Lord? Deliver me from this poverty. I was in tears. Do you know something? That was the embarrassment the devil was waiting. The technician came and discovered it was a fuse that makes the AC in the bank not to be functioning. And the fuse, a fuse in the box. Everything in less than 20, 30 minutes. Everyone was getting their money. But I couldn't stand up from where I was seated. When I raised my face, I discovered everyone close to me. They've all stood up. Most of them has gone. It's new people. And the cashier called me. And he said to me, young man, come. Immediately I heard. My leg was heavy. I couldn't go to the cash point. I managed to walk there. And I looked at her. She said, can I have your check? I gave it to her. She took the check from me. He said, is it your check? I said, no. Somebody gave it to me. I did a job. She was interviewing me. I was thinking it's another embarrassment. When she saw the figure inside, she was finding out. I said, I did a job for somebody over 2 years. And the amount the person need to pay me is 10,000. And he said he don't have money. The lady looked at me and shook her head. He said, you know what? And press and press. At the end of the day, brought out the 1,000 and gave me. I was about to receive it. He said, do you know what? Who gave you this check? I explained. I said, the man said he doesn't have money. I'm sorry to tell you. What I saw in this account, I saw a lot of money inside. There I was, tears dropped down. I was going out of the bank with 1,000. And I turned back and said, Lord, I know where my problem is. And I know you are a God that can fix all problems. I said, the next time I return to this bank, I will dash people millions. Now, it came to pass. The bank metamorphosed now is Access Bank. When you go to Taraba, say, ask them of Pastor Jerry, they will tell you. Now, hear this. The next day, I was about to travel. I came and told my wife, all I got is 1,000 naira. 1,000 can't take us to the park. 1,000 can't take me to Jalingo. We went by faith. My wife escorted me with my son. When I got to the park, the first vehicle has gone. I met the last vehicle. There was no passenger. The man said to me, I am going to Jalingo. If I see passenger, I asked him how much. He told me it's 3,500. I said, look at all I have, all the money I have. I profit out. He said, this cannot take you. But you should pray. Pray. If God bring passenger, you will make up. I started praying in the park. As I was praying, the God of heaven heard my prayers. There was some group of choir that attend a church. They call CLCN Church in Taraba State. Christ Reformed Church. They came for a competition in Jos, and they were going back. It was a concert. They decided to go back, and they came to the park. Immediately I saw them, they said they were going to Jalingo, and one passenger was going to Numan, was to drop in Numan, then to Adama State, that is Yola. And at the end of the day, they started paying. I was the first person. The driver collected my money, 1,500. And what was left with me was 10 naira. After I gave my wife transport back. So I had only 10 naira left with me. And I thought I've already occupied a seat. When this new passenger came, they asked everybody to leave and come out. Everybody came out. By the time we came out, they started, those that their money was complete, started going inside. At the end of the day, I was the only one standing outside. The bus was full. They refunded my money to me. I started pleading with the driver. I said, I can't stay in Jos again. I need to go to Jalingo. I was pleading. He shuts the door. In few minutes, in less than 10 minutes, the bus started going. I started running after the bus. In Plateau Rider Park, at the gate, when there's a young man they call Gashon, he saw me running after the bus and stopped the driver. I said, what happened? The driver explained that my money was not complete. And that was why he left me. And besides, the bus is full. Gashon was a Christian. I began to plead with him. I have to be in Jalingo. I have to be in Jalingo. If I stay in Jos, I will die of hunger. I want to change base. Please help me. I don't mind no matter whatever condition. I want to be inside. At the end of the day, they collected my money that they collected from me back from me. At the end of the day, do you know where I sat? On the engine of the bus. I was sitting on the engine of the bus. We have not reached Bauchi, my button, as if it will peel. Now, what I took to Jalingo is 2 trousers, 2 shirts, a palm slippers, my Bible, a book, a jotter, and that book that I took, the title of the book is Breaking Financial Hardship. That was the book I was reading. We got to a place called Gombe. People came that I have 10 naira. Child of God, hear me. The man you are hearing today is a testimony. The man you are hearing today is a living testimony of covenant practice. By the grace of God, in the second service, I will go into the details of the covenant. But let me fast forward in 10 minutes and explain to you what happened. Now, by the time we got to Numan, a passenger dropped. I thought I could sit. Certain position passenger in Numan Junction. One man was going to Jalingo. They asked me to get up. I continued from Jos to Jalingo is about 8 hours journey. Imagine a man sitting on the engines. Someone have to prevail. At the end of the day, I was permitted to sit down. I was thirsty. When I was thirsty, I saw a little girl hawking water. And I cried out, the girl came. I gave her the 10 naira I have. And she gave me a change of 5 naira. I drank that water. I arrived Jalingo with only 5 naira. When I got to Jalingo, there was nobody to welcome me. I called my host and I told him I'm in Jalingo. He gave me description of where I should go. I should go to Mechalin. I should come and meet him International Praise Church. 5 naira can't take me. I need at least 40 to 50 naira to take a bike. I began to trek in the city of Jalingo. Eventually, when I got to the place, hear this. When I got to Praise Chapel, I met a lady. Her name is called Rose. She was the chief usher. I told her that I am the guest of your pastor. He said, the pastor have not come. I had to wait for some minutes. Pastor have not come. I was hungry. It was around 6:30. I was tired. I was hungry. I was frustrated. I saw a woman still in Jalingo. These are the weaknesses God raised for me. These are the weaknesses who know how I came. These are the weaknesses who saw me the day I came to Jalingo. She was hawking. Is a petty trader. I walked to her. I said, please, ma, I am thirsty. I'm hungry. I'm a stranger in this land. Please, can you help me with biscuits and water? She told me water in Jalingo 2007. Pure water is 10 naira. I could not even afford to buy a pure water. That was how wretched I was. I stood there when I saw the woman was an Igbo woman. She was speaking Igbo. And I said to her, madam, I am Igbo. He said, from where did you come from? I said, my mother is Igbo. My mother came from a place called Abia State. A place called Sukwato. I explained to her, just to persuade her. I told her my father is Yoruba. Please, can you don't help me? I'm your brother. She gave me a sachet of water. When she gave me that water, child of God, tears was coming out of my eyes. I told her, I said, please, ma, where can I ease myself? I want to ease myself. She showed me to go behind. Sir, that was there I negotiated the covenants. I have discovered the missing link. Lord, I have been a beggar in Jos. I can't be a beggar here. I began to cry. I said, the God of all flesh, let this land answer to me. I cried. And I remember the scriptures when Jacob said, Lord, if you be with me in this journey, you give me bread to eat and raiment to put. I make a covenant. Here shall be called my Bethel. Whatever you give to me, Lord, I will give you that. That day I said, February 2007, 13th of February. I said, God, whatever you bless me with in this land, I will give you 90%. I will not pay 10% time. I knew where my battles were from. I knew I was negligent of scripture. I knew it and I wanted to correct it. I said, Lord, I will not correct it with 10%. I will correct it with 90%. I don't know anybody in Jalingo. Even the person I know has not come. But I know there's a God of all flesh. The Bible says in the book of Ecclesiastes 10:15, for the labor of the foolish weary every one of them, because they know it not how to get into the city. Now hear this. After a while, I have peace in my heart. I stood and waited for the pastor. The pastor came. When he came that day, he saw me around 9:30. I've not eaten anything. Took me to the hotel, brought food my way. When he brought food to the hotel where he lodged me, I could not eat the food. I was angry with food. Since morning, food, you are coming out too late. I managed to take the meat and drank the water. The next day we talked. Few days I ended up becoming a sales boy. But listen to me. The covenant is not a respecter of person. In every nation, Act 10:35, Peter opened his mouth of a truth. There's no respect of person with God. In every nation, he that feareth him and worketh righteousness is accepted by him. Romans 2:11, there's no respect of person with God. I was staying there as a sales boy. On the 21st day, I find myself in Jalingo. A woman walked into where I was selling as the sales boy. God caused a shift by the covenant I made. The woman walked there. It's a boutique. When she walked, her name is called Mary Isaac. I am making reference of name for validation. She walked inside there and looked at the boutique, saw clothes, saw everything. They show her this. They say, no, I don't want this. They show her the other. He said, I don't want this. They show her shoe. I don't want. She said, I'm looking for something. They show another thing. She said, she don't want. I was seated there because we are two sales representatives, a girl and a boy. The pastor's wife, sister, her name is Mercy, and me, Jerry, the pastor's friend. We are the two people working for Mama. That was the pastor's wife. So now, if it's the woman that come, Mary and Mercy attend to them. If it's a man, so since it's not a man, so I bow my head. I was there thinking of my life. I've not sent a dime for my wife. I've not sent a kobo for my wife. I don't know how they are very unjust. But child of God, the woman saw me. She looked at me. He said, when she looked at me, I greeted her. He said, you look like someone I know. The covenant. Say the covenant. Say the covenant. You look like somebody. I said, me? I said, ma, I don't know you. Said, you look like somebody. Where do you come from? Hear this. I said, I came from Jos. This is just 21 days. She said, what do you do? I say, I am a printer. He said, a printer? When she shout a printer, I remember that owing some people money in Jos. I thought they traced me to come and arrest me. The debt I have in Jos was so much. He said, printer, then I have a job for you. I said, me? I said, job? She said, yes, I have a job for you. I said, me? He said, yes. He said, you say you came from Jos. Jos is my homeland. I married a Caribbean from a local government called Taco. Do you know who is talking? The nurse that is attached to the governor of Taraba State. Jolie Inyame's wife. So I met Mama. I said, I don't know whether they have come to arrest me. He said, no, follow her. I know her. She's the nurse to our ex. Now hear me. It's not, this is life. Ask anybody in Taraba State, all of the governors of Taraba State, including the present one, give me contract. You will hear a lot of mind-blowing testimony. Now, that was my introduction to government house I didn't know. She said, follow me. I followed her. Entered her car. When I entered, she drove to the place they call SS quarters. The SS quarter is Jolie Inyame's house, the governor of Taraba State. They opened the gate and we entered. When we entered, I saw the environment. The environment looked like heaven. By the time we entered, I saw police saluting us. I was wondering. I said, hope he's not kidnapped or arrested. She said, follow me. I followed her. That was the first time in my life that I saw her. See, the covenant is activator of favor. It activates strange favor. For thou shalt bless the righteous with favor, without compassing as in a shield. So we entered the place. I saw people lying down, sitting down. Now hear this. They were sitting down. I rolled down. Lo and behold, I saw the woman I normally see in television. I saw in calendar. She walked. And when she walked into the parlor, the people sitting kneeled down, bowed down, and greeted her. Lo is Priscilla Inyame that was coming. She looked at me. I was the only strange person there. The first thing after I greeted her, he said, who is this? Mary said, the woman name is Mary. Mama, I came with her, Your Excellency. And the first question she said, Mary, is this your houseboy? Because I look like a houseboy. He said, no, ma, it's the printer that will do the job. When she sat down, she said, which job? I don't look like somebody they should give job to. He said, ma, the job you were talking about is the printer, is a professional printer. If you see my trouser, not iron. If you see my shirt, he said, favor beautify you. Favor qualified you. Favor adds some strength color, God input of color. And Her Excellency was looking at me. Mary, did you know what you are saying? He says the printer that will do the work. Now listen. Her Excellency was looking at me. Can he do the job? Mary was answering for me. Yes, he can do it. Mama, let's give him a trial. She said, okay, bring my biro. They brought her biro. Golden pen. Bring my book. Say, come, let me show you what I want. She was still looking at me. Do you know what she wanted? It's very simple thing. She wanted, there's what we call a jotter. a jotter, a paper bag, and a calendar. If I tell you the quantity of this job, you'll be shocked. Now, when she told me the quantity, hear me, she asked me, how much, with suspicion, can you do the job? Hear me. You see, people don't understand why I have given all today for the gospel. I have given all for what I am doing today. They don't understand. I have seen the hand of God. Now, when she asked me, I told her, hear me, maybe because I was afraid of the environment, my mouth was stammering. She told me how much. I said, hear me, God, bear me witness. I said 120,000. As I said 120, God amplified my voice, and she was hearing 500,000. Now, let me tell you why the 500,000. They contacted their printer in Abuja. This Abuja is the printer that does most of the job in Taraba state government and does some of the personal job. The printer asked for that quantity for 500,000. So Mama said, okay, this is I won't tell you the quantity. It's so, if I tell you, you will know that there are places where people play with money. You are not suffering. God, by the covenant, will locate you to a garden of water. The printer told them he will do it for 50. And Mama said, please, what I want to do for you, hear this. I want you to add just 20 copies so that I can keep some for myself. The people within Madam told the printer to add extra 250. And the printer insisted that he would do that job for 750. So it's argument. And Mama said, okay, Mary Isaac had it and came to buy clothes and forgot the clothes she came to buy. God sent her to bring me. So Mama was hearing the 500 they initially agreed before there was a change. So they asked me again. I said 120. I was stammering. God was amplifying 500. Now, at the end of the day, to them, it is still cheaper. The man that will come to pick those details will come through flight. Government will pay. Land in Yola. Then our airport was not working. They will drive him from Yola to Jalingo, and he will go back. Extra expenses. To them, it was cheaper. Now, hear this. At the end of the day, 500 is okay. They brought 500,000. When I saw it, it was not what I was looking for. I was looking for 120. I squeezed my face. Because of poverty, when I squeeze my face, it is smile. My smile now look like cry. Is it there's how poverty will deal with you that you want to spy his cry? Now, to cut long story short, when she looked at my face, they have brought the money. He said, Mary, I don't want this man to come and cry here. If the money is not enough, the other man says 750, add 250. Now, making 750,000. The covenant. I was afraid to carry it. Mary said, take your money. I came out and said, Mary, this money is too much. He said, a printer was charging them. Go and do the work. I don't want you to fail. If you fail, you have failed me. And it will cost me my job. I did that job. Send 200,000 to my wife. Send the details. I had extra 550. That same job was done with extra money with my wife with the 200. When I come next, in the second I will tell you what happened with me and my wife with that money. But hear this. I just want to give you a teaser. Now, at the end of the day, my wife requested for another 50,000. In case it will take us another century to see another money. I sent that money. Then she chartered a bus. Do you know the bus? Only paper inside a bus. The same driver that brought me to Jalingo that I sat on the engine. With a charter of a paper. Now, let me cut long story short. After the job arrived, I went to the government house to deliver that job. As I got inside, she asked me, let them see the sample. I brought it out. You know what Her Excellency said? The Speaker of Taraba State House of Assembly was there that day. Commissioner of Finance was there. And 3 prominent was with Her Excellency. When I brought the job, she looked at it and said, this is beautiful. He said, you mean you did this job in Jalingo? He said, from today, we're not going to travel. Now, hear this. I was living there. They gave me extra 50,000 naira for transport. I was excited, full of joy. I will give you the rest of the story in the second service. Now, child of God, that is my journey to covenant practice. I struggle because I heard the voice of the Lord said to me, son, you said you will give me 90. Problem started from there. I said, get it behind me, Satan. The Spirit of the Lord does not strive with the man. The Holy Ghost whispered, you said you will give me 90. It took me 3 days. I remember that this is the act of God. That it is not by power, not by might, but by the Spirit of the Lord. I went to the bank, withdraw 450,000. And from the 50,000 given to me, 45,000. I was going to the church. That was the Living Faith Church. I went there, my pastor name, his name is David Taffa. The state pastor in Jalingo. I brought that money to the church. The accountant saw it. Look at the way I was dressed. I said, I have come to pay my tithe. The question he asked me, where did you thief this money from? They refused to collect it. The attention of my state pastor was drawn. He came and he said, where did you get this money from? You don't look like people that pay this kind of tithe. I brought a sample of the jotter. In the jotter, that's what we call imprint. The printer will write his phone number. I said, please, sir, can you call this number? He called the number. I brought a sample of the calendar as a point of reference. He called it. I said, look at also this paperback. You see where this calendar inside. He saw it. Amazing concept. And saw my number. I said, this is my story. They gave me a tight booklet. Now hear me. That was where my life turned. My life turned. They received the tithe. My tithe booklet is 2,320. Now, that day I went to Her Excellency. I never knew that it was the Speaker of Taraba State House of Assembly and the Commissioner of Women Affairs. They all collected my number. That day I received 2 calls from 2 prominent in Taraba State. And they said, where are you? We want to give you a job. Now listen to me. I will give you the rest of the story. The covenant of tithing is still valid in our day. It is the getting